All right, as you can see, I have carefully cut these two stars out of my tabs and my lines that I used a pen on to score to make it easier to fold. So now it's time to actually fold these. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to fold your long lines. So you want to probably do this on the table. And you can see that because I scored that line, I get a nice, perfectly straight fold. So I fold down, then I'm actually going to fold back. And then down once more, pressing the fold so that now it's a little easier to manipulate. Turn it once and repeat. Fold once, twice, and a third time. Turn, repeat. You're going to do that for all of the long lines that go through the middle of your star. So you can pause the video if you are ready for this and start this step. Okay, so as you can see on my camera that I've managed to fold all these long lines that go through the middle of my star. Now it's time to fold the tabs. Now this takes a little bit longer. We need these tabs to be folded twice as much. So when you do this, press down, back, forwards, back, forwards, again. So you're folding back and forth 3 times. Okay, we need this to be very, very easily moved around. If it's not, our star won't fit together properly. So you got to do this for all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yes, that's 3 back and forths for a total of 6 times you're folding it, okay? And you're going to do that for all these tabs on both stars. If you don't do this step properly, our star will not fit together later. So it is very important that you get these folded really, really, really well. You can even run your pencil over it like this. That will help too. So you got to do that for both stars. That's next. So as you can see, I have manipulated these tabs. You also notice that by the time I was done, all these tabs are folded inward towards my pen lines in the middle. Okay? That's a good thing. We want it that way. So if yours looks like this, you get those tabs folded inwards, you're on the right track. So now I'm going to flip these over. I'm going to flatten them out, making sure those tabs are folded inwards towards where the pen is so that I don't see them. Flatten it out as best you can. You are ready for paint. So you're going to come up front. You're going to get the color you chose that has your name on it in a little cup of white paint and brushes of your choice. So go do that. And then you're also going to need a paper towel or two. And you are ready to paint. When we go to paint this, okay, part of your grade, I'm looking for you to be very careful with this paint. We are going to start by making tints, okay? A tint is a color plus white. You figured that out already from the colored pencil lesson. So we're going to break this star into 5 sections. One section is going to get your base color, so just straight up paint. And you don't want to overload your brush. No blobs or globs, and a little bit of paint goes a long way. You're going to look for your folded lines. Okay? You want to get your brush right against them. Very, very carefully paint along the folds, like so, right to the middle. And then paint the rest of the section of your star with your base color. Loading your brush whenever you need to. We do not want to see globs of paint or lumps or ridges. Brushing this paint out very thin, and it dries super fast that way too, so it won't get all over the place. You'll notice that because I have those tabs folded underneath the star, there's very little paint getting on the table. You can always put a paper towel underneath here too. Okay. I'm going to keep carefully painting this, and now I got to worry about that other fold. Okay, it's right here. Turn it however your hand is comfortable to be able to run that brush right along that fold line. There are some smaller brushes for this as well. If you're more comfortable with using a smaller brush, and simply grab one from the brush bin. Just brushing this paint out so I don't see any of the original paper in my color. Never overloading the brush. I'm holding the brush fairly low, like I was writing a sentence with a pencil. Being very careful. Keep that paint where it belongs. So that was easy enough. It's nice and neat. Got all my little spots filled in. That part is done. Now, I am ready to make my first tint. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a brush full of paint. I'm going to put it in here. I'm just going to gently start stirring it around. I'm not pushing down with the brush because that'll cause the paint to go all over the cup. And we don't want that. Okay, so what I've done here is I've kept mixing this gently, not smashing my brush in there, until I can't see any more white streaks, or in this case, any red-orange streaks, because that's the color I chose. This is my first tint. So I'm ready to use this. So I've got all this paint on my brush. Now, if you were careful, there shouldn't be paint way up here. If there is, you need to clean it off with your paper towel. Okay, but right now, I'm in pretty good shape because I was careful. This first tint is going to go in our next section of our star. I had a lot of paint on this brush. So what I'm doing right now is I'm getting rid of the extra paint by using it in the middle, where I don't have to be super careful. If you see any streaks of dark color in there, you got to brush it out so that they mix in with the white. So now I've got all that excess paint off of my brush, I can go back in now and do my detail work along the edges. Be very careful not to get any of this first tint into my original color. Again, I do have smaller brushes if that's what works for you. You have to be the judge of that. I'm just going to keep working my edges carefully. Make sure I filled in the whole thing because I know I'm not going to be able to make that same color ever again. I am pretty happy with that. So now, this is very important. I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to get all this extra paint off of my brush. You don't need water for this. Get as much of it off as you can. And I'm going to add another blob of paint into my first tint. Keep mixing that. You can see that I've got a lot of paint on this brush. I'm going to get rid of some of that and maybe use a paper towel, clean it off a bit. Okay? And then I'm going to compare. If this looks exactly the same as this, I need to add more red. And I think I'm going to do that. Mix. And repeat. You can see that it's subtle. There is a difference. This is darker than that. So I'm going to paint in this next area of the star with this tint that I made. Then I'm going to clean off my brush, add more base color into this so it gets darker. I'm going to use that in my next section. Then clean off my brush, add more, mix it in, and do my last section. And that's how the first part of our star is going to be done.